This is the fabric I'll be using. Now, before you get the length of your illusion, you have to ask your client where they want the illusion to get to on their body. That is the hip illusion, where they want it to get to on their body. So that is the pattern you will cut. Now I have this my fabric here. It is being folded into 4 because I'll be cutting the back and the front together. Now, so I folded it into 4 like this. So the length I'll be using is a length of 16 inches. But before that, I'll rule ½ inch. That will be the part that we're going to sew on the skirt that will be attaching to the upper part, to the half cut of our dress. Now, this is the ½ inch. So I'm going to mark my 16 inches now. So I have 16 here plus 1, that's 17. So the total length of what I have here is 17 inches because the main length is 16. Then for joining inside the down part, I added 1 inch. My client's waist is 31 inches. 31 divided by 4, we have 7.75. So I'll put the 7.75 here, like this. Then I'll add just 1 inch for sewing allowance. Now from this line here, let's get the hip length. A hip length of 9 inches is okay, or 8.5. After getting the hip length like this, our hip is 45. Yeah, around hip is 45. So I'm going to add 4 or 5 inches to it. So if I'm to add 5 inches to it, that's 50. So 50 divided by 4, that's 12.5. So I'm going to put it 12.5 like this. Like this, then plus 1 inch sewing allowance. This is what I did here. You have to add enough allowance to the hip so that's a fullness at that hip area, it will show. That is why we added, so you can do 4 inches or you can do 5 inches, but depending on how big you want it to be. Now coming to the nail, this edge here, it has to be your main nail length, your main nail. So how do I get, normally if my client's nail is hip is 44, I'll just minus 5 inches from it to get my nail. So if I'm using 45 for this tutorial, that's 45. So by the time I minus 5 inches from it, that's 40. So 40 divided by 4, we have 10. So I'll mark the 10 like this, plus 1 inch sewing allowance. Now we are done drafting this. So let's connect. So you can just blend here up instead of having that enough sharp angle. You just blend this. Now look at the shape. So I'm going to cut now. I am cutting the back and front together. So guys, this is what we have. We are going to be forming our curve now. You're going to come down here by 1.5. Some will come down here by 1.5. Then they're going to slant from this 1 inch. They will just slant it to this 1.5 and they will cut. And that is fine. But for this tutorial, the shape I'll be doing for this tutorial is totally different from the normal shape you've been seeing everywhere. So mine, I'm going to come down here by 3 inches. From these 3 inches, I would curve like this. Can you just see the way I'm curving? When I curve like this to the hip length here, then from here I'm going to slant it. Like, I am not going to curve like this. I'm going to be slanting it. So watch how I do. I will slant it to the 1 inch allowance here. This is the shape I will be doing. Now for most, let me just do that shape for most, the one most people do. They'll just curve from here like this. They'll curve, you can curve like to your 1.5 here. Can you see? Look at this curve. That is the most popular one that most people do. Mine, this tutorial is like this. So I am done with this. I can now cut. Remember, we are cutting both the back and the front together. So I'll be opening it up now. Now this is what we have. This is the shape we have. So after getting this shape, you will take one, keep one aside, and just take one and you slant it into two, because that will be for the back. So this is for the back and this is for the front. I'll be cutting a lining, but I would like to use the material as the lining. I have the lining and the fabric. I'm using the material as the lining also. So this is the material and this is the lining. Then this is the back, material and lining. So for the back we have 4 pieces because we slash it into 2. But the front we have 2 pieces. Now I'm going to be cutting I'm going to be using this paper gum. That is what I'll be using for this project. The lining will not have the interfacing. Yeah, so let me keep this one aside. Then I'll cut for this. I'll be ironing it after using the interfacing to gum it. Now the next thing I'll be doing is I'll take the lining and I'm going to be turning it with it. So you're going to open it like this, you turn it to the other side. So you place it like this, right side to right side. Then you will not sew here. You're only going to start sewing from here like this to this side, to this, to this. You come up like this to this, then you sew like this to this other side. That is where you sew. So the only place you will not sew is this upper part, because that's where you'll be turning it out from. Now you're going to do the same thing for the other side. Now this is it, right side to right side. So you do the same thing. You sew from here all the way to this upper part like this. You sew like this, but you will not sew this up part. So let me do that and I'll come back and show you guys. You're going to sew with 1/2 inch piece. Now we have finished sewing it. I'm just going to notch all of them, then before turning. So guys, this is the front and back. After I finish turning them, now I'm going to give it a very good press for it to balance or smooth very well. So mates, after pressing them, this is what I have. You can see it's now very okay. Yeah, now the next thing we'll be doing now is to join the sides together. You're going to place them right side to right side. Yeah, like this, and like this. I added 1 inch sewing allowance, and I already head inside with 1/2 inch, so I'm left with half inch. So I'll sew with 1/2 inch down, I'll sew with 1/2 inch down. So let me do that. So guys, this is what I have after I finish pressing it. Now for you to be able to press it very well, you have to use your ball, because it's not easy when you open it like this. when you open it like this and you want to, you can see the way it's folding inside. You can see, so it's not easy when you open it like this and you place it on your table and you iron. So you have to put your ball, or this is a breast ham or the hip ham, you just place it like this, then you open and you iron very well. So you do that, you can see that it is very easy like this. So that's how you do the same thing for the other side. So that was what I used in ironing it. I will now take my skirt. I already have my skirt pattern already. This one is the skirt that I've made. Yeah, this is a short dress. This is a dress actually, so I'll be attaching to the upper part. I've already sew inside, turn it with the lining and all that. So you're going to open the zip side like this. So when you open the zip side, you will now take your hip illusion. So you're going to be putting this one inside. You open this one up like this. You open it up and you place it inside. Can you see the way I'm doing it? You place it inside. Then you take the back. This is the back side. Now you're going to, this is your zip allowance for your skirt pattern. You're going to place it not on the zip, because you'll be sewing your zip on this, so very close to the zip. You pin it together. You pin it together. Then you go to the middle, your middle skirt. You also pin it together. Then you go to the other zip side. Then you pin the middle also. From this side also, you also pin the middle. You pin it. Then you go to the zip side for the back. Then you also come out by 0.25 or ½ inch. Then you pin. So after pinning, guys, I'll just be sewing this upper part, this waist, the waist part here. I'll sew it together. After sewing the waist together, this is what we have. This is what we have. This is the front. Look at how it is. You can see. Then this is the back. Can you see that it's looking very neat and beautiful? And when your clients wear it and they tell you, oh, okay, the hip is too pronounced, they don't want a very pronounced hip, you can just turn it back and just shape it here from this hip here. That's all. You do the same thing for the other side. But for now, I'll leave it like this till when she wear it. So if it's okay, then we're good to go. So this is how to get your skirts, your hip illusion, the outer skirts hip illusion. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Kindly give me a thumbs up, share it. I'll be joining the upper parts to it